This is my solution to a working player counter for a Minecraft server. Right now you see player 1 on the right, but as soon as someone joined, it changed the player count to 2. In today's video, I'll show you exactly how I did it. It all started with a friend of mine who asked for help for this. He already set up the scoreboard, but he wasn't quite sure how to make the player count change depending on the amount of players in the server. So he asked me. My solution works fully in-game without any coding, but it is not the smallest thing. It's a bit chunky, but I still think it's a great solution. I will first try to explain roughly how this works, and then I also will try to have a download link somewhere, so that way you can easily have it in your own world. But in case you want it explained, here it is. So first off, the repeating command block in front starts the whole thing, with a bunch of chain command blocks. I also copied them here just so we can experiment with them. We can activate them one by one, which will slowly show the scoreboard coming on screen. But if you want an updating player count, that's when I made it so my chain block line goes into this thing. It might look a bit scary, but basically it's made out of these 8 modules, which are all redstone decoders. In front of each module there is a command that checks for the amount of players. Normally the maximum we can do is the amount of signal strength redstone can maximum have. But by making it so there are more modules, we can make it for bigger player counts. Because I made it so each module does a different amount of players. The first module does the players 1 to 8. The next one does it from 9 to 16. The next one does it from 17 to 24. And it keeps going all the way until a maximum of 66 players. Although you could expand it even more. So the way each module knows when to turn on is by having this armor stand named Ben. On Ben, we have a scoreboard called player counter, which we set to 0. And then for all of the players in the world, we ask them to increase the player counter by 1. So if there are 5 people in the world, it will increase by 5 times. So the scoreboard of Ben would be 5, which is the amount of players. Then over here, the command can check if the player counter is in between 1 and 8, and then set it to red wool. Or unless it's not 1 to 8, we can set it to air. So let's say there were 10 players in the world, this command block would set it to air, but over here, this command block detected that 10 is between 9 and 16, so it set this place to wool. Because it's set to wool, the signal strength of the comparator will go into the decoder, turning on a specific torch which powers the command block. The command itself looks like this. We just add the text players1 on the 3rd row, which you see on the right because it's on row number 3. But if there are 2 players, first this comparator will get a stronger output from this command block, which will then activate the second torch. The second torch will make it so that this command block is powered, and then this makes it so that the text players 2 is displayed, instead of players 1. So basically this system works for the entire thing. And at the very end of the command block chain, we go back to the original chain of command blocks, which will show the last bottom part of the scoreboard. That's basically the entire thing, but of course if you want more details of the actual command itself, it's less work for both of us if you just download this structure. I'm now gonna show you the steps of downloading and setting it up in your own world. First of all, I'm not quite sure how to add a download into the YouTube description, so instead you should join the Discord server. Because in Discord I have this tab, and there you should be able to download this file. This is the official place where to get this download file. You can also see it's a .mz structure file, so we know it has to do with Minecraft. When you click on it, you can save it to your downloads, and inside Minecraft, when you give yourself a structure block, you should be able to load, import, and then grab that file. When you press import and then press on load, it should be loaded like this. There are a few things going on that we don't want. First of all, your chat is being spammed and you're missing the actual player count. And actually in the latest version you can fix all of that and more by just pressing a single button and the green confirms you pressed it. The chat stopped spamming and the player counter is now visible. And when somebody joins your world, it should automatically work and the player count should be at number 2. When you use this for your own Minecraft server, you probably should replace the XXX with something else, but make sure to replace it everywhere. This includes the first command block where it starts, to everything in this command block chain. Luckily most chain command blocks are just empty, but do make sure to also replace it above the torches, on each row. This is a bit annoying to do, but it is pretty simple. Also, since you're anyway filling the command blocks above the torches, I only made the first 10 command blocks actually have text. You see player 1 in the first one, in the second one you see player 2, then player 3, and all the way until player 8 for this row. Then, if you go to the row on the right, you have the players 9 and 10, etc. all the way to 16. But you see this one is empty, just like the next row of 8, and then the next row of 8. That's because when you do have a server name, it's easier just to keep copying it in every command block and then change the number. Go to the next command block, paste, and change the number, and then keep repeating this process with the name that you want. These rows go all the way to a total of 66 players, but technically you could just expand it even higher, as long as you make sure you link up the chain at the end. So, except for those few tiny things, everything should work perfectly, and if you have any more questions, you can just ask them in this video or in Discord itself. If you appreciate me sharing this, I would very much appreciate a thumbs up, and I wish you a good day.